everybody, and welcome to this week's Powerful Stuff. So I have an interesting little musing for you guys this week. It is, as you guessed it, powerful, short, sweet, something you might have already known before, but maybe you just needed to hear again. Maybe I just needed to hear again. Maybe we all just needed to hear again. And that is this idea that old patterns, old stories keep coming up because we have something new to learn from them. We have something more we can shed. We have something else we can let go of. And I found myself this week, the basis for this week's theme, I found myself this week, the last few weeks, let me rewind it back. The last few weeks, I had been like, it's my new birth year, 33. It's my Jesus year, so they say, which is like, 33, the resurrection. Actually today is Easter. Like what? That's crazy. Synchronicities. But this idea of like everything that you've built before being burned to the ground, resurrection, building back better, feeling the most at home you've ever felt, right? So I feel like all of March was my own kind of internal ceremony, thinking about this for myself, and also thinking about it for the astrological new year. I had been telling people like, it's actually kind of, the end of the zodiac year, if you will. Pisces is the last sign. And then Aries marks the new sign, the new start of the astrological new year. And so it was like, this idea of, we're planting spring, we're starting fresh. What do we want to have in full bloom? So in that energy, plus I was, had just finished my period. So I was ovulating, and the expectation that I had is, when I'm ovulating and it's the astrological new year and spring is coming out, like I'm going to feel so vibrant and alive and excited. And in some ways and degrees, I did feel that this week. But then I also noticed like old stories creeping in. You know what I'm saying? Like old stories around comparison, or I wish I did this at this time in my life, or, I wish I started that when I was that age. Like old stories, I had literally had like so much talk therapy, my own coaching, the Hoffman process, like letting go ceremonies around. And I noticed that flaring up last week. And when I noticed it flaring up, I at first was kind of annoyed, like, fuck, I've already healed this. Like, shut up, voices, like sledgehammer vibes. But then, of course, as a coach, it's my constant journey of putting my money where my mouth is and taking the advice, or not the advice, because I don't give advice to clients. I just hold the mirror for their own development and growth and reflections of their highest self. But putting my money where my mouth is and using my own tools that I would help clients work through, which is, okay, returning to this with curiosity. Why are these voices coming up? Why are they feeling super loud this week? And what more might I have to learn from them? And the act of being human is the act of remembering, right? So it's like, even if we learn something when we're 23, we might need to hear it again when we're 35. And it might revisit us on that upward spiral in a new way when we're 46. And so I reminded myself, what I would tell my clients is to come back to compassion and curiosity, of being like, okay, I noticed there was a little bit of expectation that I would be just like thriving this week, and it can still be true in some capacity. And in some capacity, it's okay that I'm not. And I wonder why these feelings are coming up this week. What resistance am I facing? What change am I resisting? Which is always a powerful question. What change am I resisting? And sometimes those old stories can flare up when our inner child is simply just scared, right? So I return to this compassion for like little Meredith of like, okay, I know you're scared, or like change is coming, right? You're wanting to systemize your coaching. You're wanting to scale your coaching. You're putting out your creative projects. There's a lot going on. And sometimes our self-sabotage and our shadow side isn't like a bitch or whatever. It's just like a scared inner child version of us who just needs reassurance that they're safe to embrace change, you know? So before I get into it even more, we'll just do our 3 little breaths. So taking a deep breath in, breathing in whatever old stories or old voices are coming to the surface in this moment for you. Just being present with them as you exhaling them out. And then second breath in, breathing in that space to replace judgment with a little bit of curiosity. Where are they showing up? What do they have to show me? What more can I look at or potentially heal in this moment? And then releasing that. And then third and deepest breath in, breathing in the present moment awareness of these old stories, trusting in the growth, the freedom, the spaciousness on the other side, and then exhaling them out. Okay, guys. So as I was saying, now that we all have our stories in mind, I started to come back to, okay, little Meredith needs some love. So I kind of sat, what that looked like is like going to my little inner child shrine that I have set up in my cuddle den of all my photos of me when I was younger and like living in my highest self, best life as a youngin'. Anyways, and so meditating with that version of me, journaling with little Meredith, asking little Meredith what she needed, and then also kind of journaling from little Meredith's perspective of like why I'm scared or why I might not trust adult Meredith, you know? And kind of having that dialogue between my older self and my younger self. So that was one. And then I also just kind of did another experience around acceptance. Because we resist the present moment when we're resisting things, or we block the present moment. Let me say it another way. We block the present moment when we are resisting how things are. So I was like, I accept that these stories are coming. I made a whole list of all that I'm accepting. I accept that these stories are coming up again. I accept that it's really frustrating. I accept that I thought I would be having more of a productive week. I accept that I'm feeling stagnant. I accept that I'm feeling like not inspired right now. I accept that I'm feeling frustrated at myself. And then from all that place of acceptance, what is the choice that I'm going to make? Okay, I choose to be kind to myself right now. I choose to allow myself to express these emotions. I choose to maybe do some like low-hanging fruit energy leaks, just sealing some, non high level thinking things in my life that will at least declutter my physical space. So I did this, self-compassion, then acceptance, and kind of was just sitting in it and still processing it. And then I went to acupuncture on Saturday to this amazing acupuncturist that Eileen turned me on to. Eileen, if you're listening, love you, miss you, as does the whole Powerful Stuff loyal listeners. We need to get you on again soon. And I was at acupuncture and talking to my acupuncturist, and he was like, I was telling him how I was kind of frustrated with myself. I was like, I am so frustrated. I'm frustrated that these old stories are coming up. I feel like I've done so many ceremonies, self-development work, all of this stuff around it. And it's like I needed to kind of hear that dose of my own medicine, right? Hear that reflection back. And he's like, actually, you are moving forward. And sometimes when you're bored, when you're moving forward, when you've just cleared space, sometimes our minds do go back to old stories because they're like, oh, what now? Or what do I nibble on? Now, and so he's like, it's just noticing and being aware and allowing yourself to sit in this boredom, which is literally so funny because I told a client this week to allow himself to sit in boredom because that's when we can have our most creative ideas. And also in boredom, right? It's like when we're no longer in fight or flight or we're no longer anxious. So it's like, why try to distract ourselves in boredom with like junk food or old habits that we've already shed versus allowing the stillness, allowing that calmness in our nervous system. It's like part of our self-sabotaging self. It's like, I'm not familiar with this calmness or boredom, so I'm going to create stress. I'm going to create situations of stress or self-loathing. So again, it's just like coming back to that voice. It's okay. It's okay. I get what you're doing. And we're going to move on, and I'm going to lovingly let you go. And trust me that this is going to be the highest path. And so anyways, when he was telling me this, I was like, that makes so much sense, because I actually do feel like I've cleared out a lot of those old stories, but they're still coming up. They're still coming up because I'm looking for something to latch onto. I'm looking for those old kind of quick dopamine fixes or distractions or whatever it is, versus just like acknowledging like I am moving forward. And yes, these old stories might be arising, but maybe it's because I have something new to learn from them, right? Maybe I just need to hear something in a different way, or maybe they're arising to re-inspire me, to help me commit to my path in a new way. Or like my acupuncturist was saying, they could be arising simply because I'm bored and I'm looking for something to do. And so to not ascribe so much meaning or weight to these old stories coming up, as in when I say meaning or weight, I mean like not to beat yourself up and be like, fuck, I thought I healed this ages ago, but clearly I'm not healed because it's coming up again. But instead to like, again, have that curiosity. Okay, why is this coming up? I'm curious. What does it have to show me? And, what can I do instead? How can I sit with myself more in this moment? Can I journal? Can I read? Can I grab my guitar? And I also want to say too that the other interesting thing that he said was I was really sick last week, or like kind of food poisoning sick. And I was telling him, I was like, it felt like a purge, like I was releasing so much. And he goes, and of course, take this with a grain of salt, right? Whatever is true for you, but it can also be an interesting thought to journal on. He's like, oftentimes we can get sick or feel that way when we're resisting change. And the sickness forces us to change. It forces things out. It's like purging things from our system. Our bodies are really intelligent like that. And again, whatever you believe about that, I thought regardless, it's an interesting musing when you are sick to be like, what can I purge right now? What change am I resisting? And how can I bring acceptance and awareness to it? So that is what I was thinking about. That is what I was doing. And I just thought it was really interesting of like also the idea too that we get revisited by these old stories sometimes because maybe we've expanded our capacity to sit with the old story or the pain or the truth or the shame that it brings up. And we're able to then sit with it longer, heal it even more deeply. And with my old stories, what I was telling myself this week, which were some around comparison, right? Whenever I find myself comparing, what I do is oh my gosh, guys, there's a car alarm. Hopefully it goes away soon, or maybe it's just waking us all up to our new stories, you know what I'm saying? But when I notice a old story around comparison coming up, I ask myself, what is this comparison triggering in me, right? What does this person have that I want? How am I blocking myself from it? Like, because clearly it's triggering me, right? That I would be comparing myself. So in what ways am I not taking proactive action that maybe they are? And so I can start to see, like, I can start to create a blueprint of action for myself actually from that. And then the last thing I'd say is, while I might be comparing myself to them because there's something inspiring that they're doing, and now there's an action step I can take, how am I also unique in my own path there? How is there the only way like that? Like only Meredith can do it this way, right? What is my unique story? What is my unique value add? And continuing to like recommit to that and what I can bring to the table in that way. Praise the Lord, guys. The card just stopped. I was like, is it going to run into our meditation? I know I could cut this in post, but I like to keep it flowing, keep it real. Anyways, so those are the things that oh my gosh, it started again. Okay, it stopped. Okay, we're good. I'm good. Are you guys good? Okay, good. But yeah, so with the comparison, it's like, what do they have or what are they doing that I want? How are they doing it? In what ways are they doing it that I could be taking action in my own life. And then the third part is recommitting to your uniqueness. Like, how can whatever I want to do, how am I the unique person to do this? Or what is my unique value add or story or perspective around it? Okay. Anyways, so all of that's to say, I feel like that was my lesson this week of like allowing and accepting old stories to come up, not being mad or judging when they come up, right? Being okay with it, allowing it. But then asking myself, what do I have to learn from this? Or maybe how is it coming up in a new way? Or how am I different than the first time it came up? Maybe an old story is resurfacing around like your lovability or your ability to date. And you're like, oh, why did it come up again? I thought I healed it last year. But maybe noticing like how much you have grown from last year to this year and all the new tools that you actually do have that you didn't have last year. And yes, it might be the same old story, but you're actually in an even more empowered place to address it, to sit with it, to get new wisdoms from it. So rather than beating ourselves up when an old story or a trigger comes along, being like, yay, ooh, I'm feeling real. I'm feeling alive. Like this is what it's showing me. This is how I am empowered to deal with it. This is how I am empowered to learn and grow from it. And that is the elixir of transformation, guys. Okay. So with that, we'll just do a little brief medi. So closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in, an open mouth exhale, sighing it out. Another deep breath in. Squeezing up, pulling your shoulders up to your ears and exhaling it out. And third and deepest breath in, expanding your lungs, pulling your breath up to your third eye and exhaling it out. And as you turn your gaze inward and keep your nice, slow, deep breathing, asking your old stories that have maybe become louder in recent days or the recent weeks to surface. Asking them to surface 110%, leaving no story unvoiced. Just listening to them in your mind's eye, in your internal world. Just noticing the sensations these old stories create in your body. Noticing where those sensations feel the most present. And placing your hands on that part of your body where those sensations feel most present, like you're tracing a root back, a root of these old stories, unwinding, unraveling, unwinding, unraveling till you get to the very, very root of this old story. And in that root, you just see a younger version of you, a scared inner child with a megaphone shouting this old story at you because they are afraid of change. You just look at that young version of you sharing this old story to keep you safe in their mind. You look at them with so much compassion and so much love. And then just asking them, why are they scared? Why are they repeating this old story? Asking them with curiosity and love. Then telling them that makes sense. That is scary. And then reminding them how you've got them, how you've had them, protected them in the past, what you've learned, and how you'll continue to make sure that they are safe even as you shed this old story lovingly. How can your younger self trust you in this moment of change? And as you commit your trust to them, hugging them, breathing heart to heart, syncing up your hearts, feeling relaxed. And as you pull away, you notice them morph into a reflection of present day you. You in this very moment, just staring back at you. And then asking them to remind you of all the wisdoms, all the ways you've learned, you've grown since this story first might have appeared. How are you even more equipped to work with it, to transform it, to release it now? Thanking them, trusting your inner wisdom, and with that courage, with that power, putting your hands back on the part of your body where you feel the old story, pulling it out from the root and starting to rub your hands together, building heat in between your hands, transforming the old story into something new and powerful and beautiful, learning, wisdom, teaching, fuel as you carry onward, and opening up your hands, seeing this new beautiful power, this new beautiful story and fuel that's been created. Feeling so much peace and spaciousness as you release the old story. You know why it's coming up. You lovingly look at it, transform it, seeing this beautiful wisdom. And then with this beautiful wisdom, this essence in your hands, it's almost like it's casting up an apparition or a vision of that version of you who knows this, who knows that it's lovingly coming up and just lovingly transforms it, and just getting to see and feel into that reflection of you, who's deeply connected to their intuition, their centering, their knowledge that this old story is coming up so they can heal it even more deeply, that they're perfectly imperfect, and that these old stories keep coming up to invite them to keep remembering. And with so much peace, placing both hands on your heart, feeling this truth, breathing in even deeper as you take an inhale to feel the spaciousness where the old story was, now feeling a new sense of spacious possibility. And open mouth exhale. One more time, trusting your nervous system, allowing your nervous system to sink into this spaciousness. You are safe, you are held. And exhale, releasing it. And then third and deepest breath to open your eyes. And exhale to come back into this space. Beautiful, everyone. Congratulations for breathing through, making space, allowing the old story to create even more space of healing, even more space of awareness. So to sum it up, question number 1, what is that old story you're telling yourself? And and why might it be flaring up right now? Why might you be telling yourself that right now? Is there something you're resisting? Is there change you're resisting? Is there something you're afraid of or have fear around? Second question, how can you remind yourself that you've got you, that you've dealt with this old story before, and that you're actually that much wiser and aligned and clear-headed to deal with it than you were in the past? And then the third question, what are you going to transform this old story into? How is the invitation of sitting with it, breathing through it, learning from it, how can it actually invite you deeper into yourself, into an even more empowered place? Okay, guys, let me know what old stories you're working through, how you're transforming them. And I am excited. We have so many cool topics coming up. I cannot wait. I'm excited to see you guys all again next week for more powerful stuff. Pew, pew, pew. Thank you for listening to the Powerful Stuff podcast. We're your hosts, Meredith Baker
and Eileen Leguiu. We hope that you learned some powerful stuff that you can take away and implement into your own life.
And if you do, we would love it if you rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast, Powerful Stuff. And if something deeply resonates with you and you share it on social media, Tag us. We would love to hear from you. And we will also see you next week for some more powerful stuff.